Welcome back to the DaddyJeep Garage YouTube channel. This week we're actually working on Jeep stuff. Alright, we're going to look at some different clearances and compare the old 35s to the new 40s. I've got it turned to full lock here right now. I am already hitting my radius arms with the 35s. Do a little measuring, see what we have to do to make full steering with the 40s. It's probably not going to happen. We're probably going to limit steering a bit, which of course is going to help my axle shafts a little bit too. There you are. Alright, again, you can see here, turn to full lock, or maybe even not quite full lock. We're already hitting the radius arm with my 35s. So that is a pretty good steering angle. We're going to try to mark that on the floor so we can see how much we're going to lose with a bigger tire. So I laid a piece of 2x4 against the tire, marked the floor with some soapstone. So there's our starting angle with the 35s. Back up a little bit, you can get a little more relation to it. Even though I feel I'm not going to have to modify my yokes, I still want to measure and figure out where my total steering is, just so I have the information, and then I can be sure that I'm not going to oversteer my yokes and break them again. So I've used my combinations, or my framing square rather, to drop some lines down in the center of the axle tube, or the edge of the axle tube. Moved it back to the center and put that piece of foam core there to establish my axle center line. I'm going to extend it a little bit here. So, axle center line. And just press this against the rotor to get a somewhat accurate mark. If I don't move it. Alright, that was terrible. Let me do it again. I could clamp it. That'd probably make it easier, but since when do I make it easier? Alright, so there's my max steering angle that direction. We'll extend that to the center line. Guess we need to extend the center line as well. Okay, there you have it. I guess the triangle has something to do with Ackerman. I don't fully understand that. Maybe someday I should, but for a rock crawler, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So now I can measure these angles, record those to figure out how much total steering I have. So I'm going to use my Starrett angle gauge, so I can just set my angle and read my numbers and figure out where I'm at. It's small, so it's not, again, real accurate, but it'll be good enough for what we're trying to determine. So I'm right at 60 degrees, so that means I have 30 degrees steering angle to the right. about 66 to the left. I knew I was a little bit off. So yeah, I'm about 6 degrees off right to left. I have to back up a little bit. So with these 40s mocked into place with some rough measuring on back spacing, again steering it until we just about make contact with the radius arm, it looks like we're steering pretty good. But compared to that mark we made on the floor, you get around here, we're losing a lot of steering. Good news for my axle shafts, bad news for trail maneuverability, but it is what it is. All this is getting re-engineered in a little while when I build the Super Duty axles. I'm going to build new front suspension so we can take that all into account and hopefully get my steering back. So we're going to live with less steering, which really, like I said, is good news for my axles. I won't have to, or I most likely won't have to modify my shafts, so I don't worry about voiding my warranty, but we're just going to lose a little bit of steering. But I can handle that to have 40s. So a quick Google search tells me the maximum steering angle for a 1310 U-joint is 30 degrees. Obviously I'm going 36 in one direction, so it's too much. That is what's causing my axle breakage, so I think we have it solved. The larger tires are going to limit my steering, I'm sure, more than 6 degrees anyway, which, quick measurement here, I guess we can look at it. I can't wait. From that intersection, it looks like it's about 12 degrees as a rough quick measurement, so there's your answer. We're going to limit our steering by 12 degrees. We need to limit it by 6 to keep my axles alive, so I think we're going to be okay. Now we just have to get the new axle shafts put in, and I have some other parts coming that I'll show you soon. Today we're taking off these little 35s for the last time. If I would have known I was changing tires, I wouldn't have parked the Jeep shoved back in the corner. I started spraying these wheels before I started recording any video. So obviously my Jeep can't have shiny black wheels on it. So these are temporary wheels. Once I get my new axles built, I'm going to need to sell these. So I don't want anything permanent. So I'm going to do a base coat of Plasti Dip white. And then we'll move on to our final coat of color here after 4 or 5 coats of this Plasti Dip white. Never used this stuff. It sprays very strange. I mean, it's a rubberized coating, and it's a little blotchy coming out of the gun. The one piece I did a couple coats on the other day, it did level out a bit, so I'm hoping these level out some, but it's not a show Jeep, so it really doesn't matter. Just can't be shiny and black. Alright, so the instructions say 30 minutes between coats, so I guess we're going to move on to another project. Alright, so we're finishing up the 4th coat here. It's starting to cover, starting to get a little less blotchy. This is going to take some time, but we have another can and a half of paint to go, so we'll get it smooth. never used this stuff. It definitely doesn't spray like normal paint. I mean, it's a rubberized coating, so obviously it's going to come out thick, but it takes a little getting used to, but it is starting to lay down good. Alright, let's put some color on these bad boys. Fluorescent green. Yeah, that looks better. Action! Alright, so to get these 40s mounted on these 17-inch wheels, our first step is going to be to lube up the bead. We're just using regular old dish soap. Alright, that's our inner bead. Now the fun part, wrestling this tire on. Alright, have some bars. I'll take one. Hold on. There's that. Just like that. How'd we do? Alright, so now we need to lube up the other bead. Tried doing this on my 35 dry, and lube makes a huge difference. Okay. Step one. Another one. I guess which side? Okay. Too much. No, we need to get this off the bead. There we go. There we go. That one. That. Around. Get it off the bead. There we go. One more. That's the upper bead. So much easier than the bottom bead. Cut! 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 Woo-hoo! There she be. Whew. Speaking of another project, check these out. It's my Facebook Marketplace find of the week. I got these for free. Guy was moving, just needed to get rid of some stuff, so I picked these up. I did have to adjust the one hinge so it lined up on the door better, but they're in pretty darn good shape, and they were 100% free. Just need to obviously change the color. So again, this isn't a show Jeep, so all we're doing is scuffing up this paint so we can do some flat black on the inside, of course the olive drab on the outside. So I'm just using this gray Scotch-Brite. We're going to take the sheen off of this and then shoot some flat black. Let's bring you up a little closer for a minute just to kind of go over what we're doing and why. So you can see the difference there, where we've sanded, where we haven't. Basically, if it's still shiny, paint's not going to stick. So all we're doing here with the Scotch-Brite is preparing the surface just enough to make paint stick. This is good factory paint. There's no reason to take it off. No reason to do primer or anything like that. It's a good base. Just scuff it up, shoot some paint on. Sand these doors to make sure that we're not sanding ripples in there. I want to make sure I use a block. It's just a foam block, but at least it's something to make sure If I'm just sanding with my hand, I could put finger ripples in there. So I'm using a block, using some 220 grit. I think this block's about 150, so for the really bad spots, I'm just going ahead and using the 150. You can see there were some deep scratches I had to work out, so a little more aggressive paper is a good thing. So we'll keep sanding, get these smooth and flat so we can put some paint on them. Alright, so now that we got her out of the shop on the 40s, we're going to put her up on the RTI ramp, see where things hit, see where they clear. Actually, I'm clearing my fender just fine. I got an inch to spare. Her back up so we can see the whole thing. So the area I was really concerned with was over here between the shock and the tire. See if I can get the camera in there. We're touching the shock, so that's definitely a concern. But the stuff's in there good. I got plenty of clearance on the fender. Yeah, everything's clearing except for that rear shock, so we may need a little bit of a spacer back there. Maybe a 1-inch spacer will be enough. But everything's clearing good. Other than that one spot, I think it looks pretty fantastic on the 40s. Alright, thanks for watching this week, guys. It's great to get back to working on the Jeep. Really exciting stuff, things I've wanted to get done for years on this thing. The 40s are awesome. The half doors I've been trying to find for years. It's really good to get back to it. I've got more coming on the Jeep. Parts coming to get the front axle put back together. Of course, still working on the camper. I've been getting some things done in the background. You'll see more of that soon. Plus some other projects you haven't seen. So stay tuned. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you'll get reminded every time I put out a new video. But again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.